You think you know yourself. You think you're being honest. But here's the truth. Most of the time, you're lying. Not to anyone else. Oh no, you're lying to yourself. And these aren't little white lies. These are the sneaky, comfortable ones that trick you into staying stuck. They make you believe you're too busy, too tired, too unready, too anything. They make you think your life is someone else's problem while you wait for permission to act. Think about it. How many times have you said, "I'll do it later," or "That's just who I am," or "Everyone else is already ahead anyway"? You tell yourself these things, and suddenly you're frozen. And the scary part? You don't even notice it's happening. By the end of this video, you're going to see these lies everywhere. In your habits, your excuses, even in the way you justify doing nothing. And trust me, one of them is going to hit way too close to home. So pay attention, because awareness is just the first step. The next step? That's where it gets real. Lie number 1. I'll do it when I'm ready. You tell yourself this all the time. I just need to be ready. I'll start when I'm ready. On the surface, it sounds reasonable, like you're being patient, careful, strategic even. But let's be honest, this is a classic self-sabotage line dressed up as wisdom. Here's the truth. You're not waiting to be ready. You're waiting for fear to disappear. And fear? It never goes away. Not completely. Waiting for it is like sitting in traffic, hoping the jam will vanish if you just honk enough. It doesn't. You're stuck. And every minute you sit there pretending you'll know when is a minute the lie wins. Think about your own life for a second. How many times have you put off that project, that difficult conversation, that trip you've been dreaming about, telling yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," or next week, or after this one perfect moment? And how often does that perfect moment even arrive? Rarely, right? Because life isn't on pause. Life moves relentlessly. Opportunities don't wait for your mood, your confidence, or your perfect timing. And here's the sneaky part. Waiting to feel ready feels productive. You read articles, you plan, you brainstorm endlessly. It feels like preparation, but it's not action. It's procrastination wearing a smarter outfit. Meanwhile, the clock keeps ticking. That thing you were waiting to start? Someone else is doing it while you're waiting. So how do you break this cycle? You start before you're ready. You take the first step, even if it's tiny, even if it's messy. Open the doc, send the rough email, make the first call. Readiness isn't something you earn before you act. It's a side effect of action. You grow into it. Confidence comes after the step, not before. The real question is, how long have you been waiting? How many perfect moments have come and gone while you've been convincing yourself that someday, somehow, you'll magically feel ready? And once you see how much time this lie has stolen from you, you start to notice a pattern. One lie like this opens the door to the others, and suddenly you're trapped in a loop of excuses, hesitation, and regret. And once you delay long enough, you start telling yourself something even more dangerous. Lie number 2. This is just how I am. You've said it before, maybe out loud, maybe only in your head. This is just how I am. Maybe it's about your habits, your moods, your relationships, or even your career. You fail once or twice, stumble through the same patterns, and suddenly you've pinned a permanent label on yourself. I'm lazy. I'm bad at relationships. I'll never be successful. Here's the catch. The moment you declare something as your identity, you stop fighting it. You stop experimenting. You stop trying to change. And here's the cruelest part. It's a lie, but it feels safe. Safe because if it's who you are, you're off the hook. No one can blame you. You can coast. You can justify staying in the same place. Think about a situation from your life. Maybe you've avoided speaking up at work because I'm not confident. Or maybe you've dodged confrontation in friendships because I'm just too sensitive. Every time you use that label, it quietly erodes your potential. Labels are like chains disguised as identity. And here's what most people don't realize. Habits are not identity. They're patterns. And patterns can be broken. This is just how I am, is the lie your brain tells itself to avoid discomfort, failure, and growth. It's easier to sit in frustration than to wrestle with change. But here's the brutal truth. Your past failures don't define your next move. They explain them. Big difference. The kicker? Once you start believing this lie, you start letting it influence everything. You don't take risks. You don't challenge yourself. And slowly, you start building a life around the limits of a lie. And worse, when people challenge you, you nod along, agreeing silently because, hey, it's just who you are. Breaking this one starts with noticing it. Catch yourself thinking, I'm just like this, and call it out. Not in some abstract feel-good way, literally interrupt it. Try something small that challenges that label, and watch your brain panic a little. That panic, that's growth knocking. And when identity lies fail, you switch to blaming timing. Lie number 3. Now's just not the right time. You've said it countless times. I'll do it when the timing is right. At first glance, it sounds smart, strategic even. You're not impulsive, you're waiting for the perfect moment. But here's the harsh truth. That perfect moment doesn't exist. Life doesn't press pause and wait for you to feel ready, organized, or calm. Think about it. There's always something. Bills to pay, a job you can't leave yet, a friend's drama, your own mood swings, the weather, or even just the fear that you might fail. There will always be a reason to wait. Timing becomes the ultimate excuse, a safety net to protect yourself from the discomfort of action. And here's the sneaky part. The longer you wait, the more real the lie feels. Now's not the right time slowly turns into, I'll never be ready. And before you know it, you've created an entire life built around waiting. Opportunities pass you by while you polish your reasoning, justify your hesitation, and tell yourself you're being smart. Relatable situation. You've been planning a side project for months, dreaming of starting a business, or finally confronting someone in your life. Every day you delay with tiny excuses. You tell yourself, next week, after I finish this, I'll start. But life moves on without waiting, and what seemed like careful planning slowly turns into regret. The ironic twist? Action doesn't require perfect timing. It creates timing. You figure things out as you go. Confidence doesn't appear first. It grows from trial, mistakes, and messy steps forward. Every moment you wait is a moment the lie controls you. Every moment you act, even imperfectly, is a small rebellion against it. Here's a little mental exercise. The next time you catch yourself thinking, I'll wait until, stop mid-thought. Ask yourself, what's the smallest imperfect step I could take right now? Even a tiny move breaks the illusion that timing is on your side. And when time isn't the excuse anymore, comparison steps in. And that's when the real trap starts. Lie number 4. Everyone else is ahead of me. This one sneaks in quietly, but it hits hard. You scroll through social media, glance at your friend's success, or hear about colleagues' wins, and suddenly you feel behind. I'll never catch up. Everyone else is already ahead. At first, it seems realistic, even logical. You're just comparing yourself to what's out there, right? But here's the thing. You're comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. You're measuring your messy, complicated life against a carefully curated illusion. And that's a trap. Think about it. How many times have you looked at someone's achievements and felt small, unmotivated, or like giving up before you even start? You see their success, and your mind whispers, "Why bother? You'll never get there." That's the lie talking. It's feeding your fear, wrapping it in the comforting story that maybe you're just not meant to win. The irony? That thought steals more progress than any real obstacle ever could. While you're busy comparing, someone else is out there failing, adjusting, and learning, and they're not frozen in judgment or self-pity. Progress doesn't come from looking at other people's paths. It comes from moving on your own, however messy or imperfect that may be. Relatable situation. You want to start a project, a career move, or even just a new habit, but you hold back because so-and-so is already so far ahead. You're trying to climb a mountain while carrying someone else's map instead of making your own. Here's the reality check. You don't want their life. You want their confidence, their action, their willingness to move despite uncertainty. And the moment you focus on your own journey, even tiny steps put you ahead of where you were yesterday. So next time you catch yourself thinking, everyone else is ahead, pause. Remind yourself, the only race that matters is the one against your past self. Start small, start messy, start imperfect, but start. That's how you beat the lie. And to protect your ego from comparison, you start downplaying your own desires. And that's when lie number 5 shows up. Lie number 5, I don't care that much anyway. This is the classic disguise lie. You tell yourself, it's fine. I don't care that much anyway. On the surface, it sounds like emotional maturity, like you've got it together. But underneath, it's fear wrapped in denial. You're pre-rejecting yourself before anyone else can. Think about it. How often have you downplayed something that actually mattered to you? Maybe it's a job you wanted, a friendship you hoped to deepen, or a dream you've been quietly carrying. You shrug it off, mutter, I didn't really want it that much, and suddenly it doesn't hurt as much when it slips away. The lie protects you from disappointment, but it also robs you of momentum. Here's the sneaky part. The longer you repeat it, the more your brain starts believing it. You start confusing avoidance with indifference. You convince yourself you're detached when you're really just scared. And the worst part? This lie can infiltrate every area of life. Relationships, work, personal growth. You settle. You opt for good enough. You stop pushing for what actually matters. Relatable situation. Imagine you didn't apply for that promotion you wanted, told yourself, I didn't really care anyway, and then watched someone else get it. That sting. That's the lie failing. But you've already softened the blow by convincing yourself you didn't care. The truth is you did. You always did. And denying it doesn't help you. It just keeps you stuck in a loop of safe mediocrity. Breaking this one starts with honesty. Admit the things you actually want, even if it scares you. Name them. Write them down. Feel the fear, the longing, the disappointment, and act anyway. Caring is not weakness. It's the fuel for action. The moment you catch yourself whispering, I don't care, recognize it as a warning. The lie is trying to protect you from discomfort. And the only way forward? Do the thing anyway. Start small if you have to, but do it. And fear doesn't stop there. It starts rewriting your past. That's where lie number 6 comes in. Lie number 6. I've always been this way. This is one of the sneakiest lies because it feels like truth. You catch yourself thinking, I've always been this way, so nothing will change. Maybe it's your tendency to procrastinate, your patterns in relationships, your struggles with confidence, or even your reaction to failure. Once you start telling yourself this, it becomes a shortcut for giving up. Here's the problem. Your brain isn't lying to you. It's reframing reality to protect you from the discomfort of change. It takes patterns, mistakes, and setbacks and spins them into a story. This is permanent. Don't try. It won't matter. And suddenly, you're trapped. You stop experimenting, stop taking risks, and start building a life around past mistakes instead of future possibilities. Relatable situation. You've had a rough breakup and now you think, I'm just bad at love. Or maybe you've failed at a project and you whisper, I always mess things up. One bad moment or repeated pattern turns into a life sentence in your mind. And here's the kicker. These stories feel safe. They explain away discomfort. They keep you from confronting the unknown. But here's the truth. Your past explains you. It doesn't define you. Patterns can be broken, habits can be reshaped, and reactions can be rewritten. The moment you accept responsibility for your choices rather than your past, you reclaim the chance to act differently. Small, imperfect steps forward dismantle this lie faster than any pep talk or motivational quote ever could. The challenge? Change feels awkward, scary, and unnatural at first. But that's proof it's working. Every time you act outside the I've always been this way box, you rewrite the narrative. You prove the lie wrong, one decision at a time. And the final lie is the most convincing of all. Lie number 7. I have plenty of time. Stay tuned, because this one steals more than just your motivation. Lie number 7. I have plenty of time. This is the most seductive lie of all, because it feels true until it's too late. You tell yourself, I'll get serious about this later. There's always more time. It could be your dreams, your health, your relationships, or even just the person you want to become. You assume motivation, clarity, and opportunity will always show up before consequences do. But life doesn't work that way. Think about it. How many times have you postponed starting something important, believing tomorrow, or next week, next year, or when things calm down, is the perfect time? And while you wait, days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and suddenly you're staring at the calendar wondering where the time went. This lie doesn't shout, it whispers, subtly convincing you that delay is harmless. Relatable situation. Maybe you've wanted to start that project, take a class, confront someone, or finally speak up. But you keep saying, I'll do it later. Months go by, and nothing happens. The gap between who you are and who you want to be widens, but you don't feel it. Yet. Until one day you look back and realize the opportunities have passed. And the scariest part? You realize you were never really unmotivated. You were deceived by a lie that made inaction feel safe. Breaking this one requires urgency. Not panic, not pressure, just small, deliberate steps today. Time is the only resource that never comes back. Every action, no matter how tiny, beats waiting. The moment you act, even imperfectly, you reclaim the time you thought you lost. Here's a little mental test. The next time you catch yourself thinking, I have plenty of time, stop. Ask yourself, if not now, when? Even a single step forward proves the lie wrong. Even a small choice disrupts the illusion that life is on pause. And now that we've uncovered all 7 lies, the real question is, what do you do about them? How do you stop letting them control your life? Let's get into that next. Awareness is powerful, but it's useless if you don't do something with it. Catching these lies feels like a revelation for a few minutes. Then life shows up, and old habits, excuses, and fears try to take over again. So here's how to actually fight back. 1. Interrupt the lie. Don't argue with it. Most people try to reason with the lie. I'll start tomorrow. I just need to prepare more. That doesn't work. The lie doesn't care about logic. It only cares about stopping you from acting. What works instead? Interrupt the behavior, not the thought. If the lie whispers, "I'll do it when I'm ready," stop debating and take the smallest step you can. Open the document, send a rough draft email, or make one phone call. You don't need perfection, just action. Once you break the pattern once, you need a replacement for the lie. 2. Replace the lie with a rule. Motivation is fickle, willpower fades, but a rule doesn't argue. Example rules. I act before I feel ready. If I think about it twice, I do it once. Rules are simple, black and white commitments that bypass the endless negotiation with fear. But rules fail if you expect perfection. 3. Plan for slips. Everyone slips. The goal isn't perfection. It's recovery. Maybe you miss a day, procrastinate, or mess up. Fine. The rule is simple. Don't let the lie win twice in a row. Momentum comes from returning, not pretending mistakes never happened. And here's a step most people completely ignore. 4. Track the patterns. Stop endlessly venting about the same problems. That only strengthens the lie. What to do instead? Notice when and why the lie shows up. For example, I lie to myself when I'm tired, bored, or afraid of judgment. Make it specific. Specific problems can be solved. And finally, the most important step, acting before the lie finishes its sentence. 5. Act mid-lie. The lie only needs a few seconds to talk you out of action. Catch it mid-thought. I'll do it when I'm just not. Now isn't the. And then move. Immediately. Imperfectly. Don't wait for confidence. Don't wait for clarity. Take action. Proof beats feeling ready every time. You don't beat these lies by being stronger. You beat them by being faster. The moment you hesitate, they negotiate. The moment you move, they lose. You'll hear them again. They'll always try. The question isn't whether the lies will show up. The question is, will you listen next time, or will you act anyway? Here's the truth. These lies aren't going away. They're quiet, persistent, and clever. They'll show up in emails you don't send, conversations you avoid, and dreams you quietly shelve. But now, you see them. Now you have a choice. The real power isn't in knowing the lies exist. It's in choosing to act anyway. One small step, one imperfect move, one moment of honesty with yourself can break the cycle. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be faster than the lie. So here's the challenge. Catch one lie today. Confront it. Interrupt it. Act against it. Then repeat. Over time, those tiny rebellions stack, and suddenly you're living a life that's yours, not dictated by excuses, comparisons, or fear. If this video made you stop and think, even for a second, hit that like button. Comment below with the lie you're going to confront first. And if you want more content that cuts through the noise and helps you see the truths hiding in plain sight, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Remember, awareness is the first step, action is the second, and momentum. That's where your life really changes. Don't let the lies win another second.